My father once said to me, Lindsay, that all politicians are crooks. And I said, Dad, you can't make a blanket statement. They can't all be. And he said, yes, they can. He said, because here's why. They spend $1 million for a job that only pays $100,000. You know, when Trump talks about a rigged election, he's correct. The election is rigged, but it's not rigged in the manner that he means. It's rigged to stop anyone like you or a Jill Stein from being able to play on a level playing field and actually compete to win. Tabitha, has there ever been a candidate that didn't vote for themselves?
I don't know. I don't know that we've ever known somebody who has done it.
Where they've come out and said, well, you know, I had kind of second thoughts when I got in the booth, and so I actually voted for my opponent. I was polling 9% at Labor Day. I was allowed in the debates, and I proved you could win. In 60 days, you could go from single digit and win the election. Well, these two parties are not, they learned from that. They're not going to let that happen again. They're not going to let anyone debate. And I'm outraged over the fact, and I'll call them the lemmings of America, who sit back and accept this when polls state that 40% of the people, quote, are independents. Well, that means if you split the other 60 to 30-30, roughly, for Dems and Repubs, you got the majority of people out there not banding together to vote for someone other than what these two minorities want. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I come from the era of Vietnam. We're in charge now. How could we get fooled again, to quote The Who? We don't get fooled again. Well, we got fooled again. Well, it happened because who was in charge? A couple of draft dodgers. Those fighting to get into the mainstream of politics being shut out all the time because it's a rigged two-party system, and when you control it, you control who's in and out of it.
I've been waiting for that change, you know, for 30, 40 years, and I never see it.
I haven't either, you know, and I agree with Dr. Paul completely. If you elect a Democrat or Republican, it's just the same government you're going to get. And why? Because both of them are bought and sold by the same corporate entities. I always like to tell people, go to the two conventions, and you'll see the same lobbyists paying off both sides. It's the equivalent if you bet on the Super Bowl. Well, if you bet on both teams, you're not going to lose, are you, Lindsay? Marco Rubio.
Oh, my goodness.
Calls Trump a con man and all of these names, and yet now endorses him. I just wish once a Democrat or Republican could have credibility.
We know who he's endorsing. He's endorsing his party so he can keep running.
But the point is, come on.
I know. Welcome back to RT America's worldwide election tonight. 2016 coverage at 5:31 p.m. in Washington, D.C., 11:31 p.m. in Berlin. I'm Lindsay France.
And I'm Governor Jesse Ventura. If you run for mayor, Congress, Senate, if you get the most votes, you win. Yet the president, as happened in 2000,
yep, exactly,
you could get 500,000 more votes and lose. That's insanity. Republicans, is that what America stands for? Throwing people off the ballot so you're not given an opportunity to vote for them?
Yeah, it's crooked, and someone say
it's
that
so crooked it stinks. And let me add immediately, Ralph Nader didn't swerve an election at all. The people who voted for Ralph Nader wanted Ralph Nader to be president. That's the lamest excuse these two parties use so that they won't take responsibility for losing. They blame it on someone like Ralph. And that's who you've got running this country now, the two-party dictatorship. And you know, it just kills me when I hear stories like in Ohio where they're moving to throw the libertarians off the ballot. That's America. That's how Republicans and Democrats view America. Win at all cost, I guess, right? The American way.
I think it ought to be a crime to systemically use all kinds of devious methods to keep people from giving the voters choice and exercising their constitutional rights. But we don't have that at the present time.
I agree with you, Ralph, but the problem is, guess who makes the laws? The Democrats and Republicans. So we don't dare hold our breath to wait till it becomes a crime.